Good morning.
It's a new year,
Yes.
2022.
Yes. This is what happened to last year. Want to go to 2023?
Is this Groundhog Year?
Here's 2023.
It's Groundhog Year.
Yeah. I wish it's tax time. Okay.
So
We're serious now.
It's wonderful to start the new year positively. We believe in positive thinking and positive expectations. And so our talk today is about, let's see, I've got the title here somewhere, Living Everyday Wonder. And with Bob's help, we went from how to go from worry to wonder.
Yeah.
And I'm going to begin with a prayer about accepting the outpouring of spirit written by Ernest Holmes in his book 365.
Good. It's good.
So, and the Bible quote is from 1 John 4:13, and it says, "Hereby know we that we dwell in him, and he in us, because he hath given us of his spirit." And Ernest Holmes said, how could we better explain this than to use the words of Robert Browning? "'Tis thou, God, who giveth, 'tis I who receive." Or Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said that we are, quote, beneficiaries of the divine fact. The thoughts of both Emerson and Browning were thoughts of acceptance and recognition. Like men of great spiritual insight, they knew that the gift of life is an eternal reality and that it is our office to accept it. And so the prayer is, and I invite you to repeat it to yourself at home with me. Today, I accept the gift of divine life and love that God has eternally given to me and to everyone. With deep gratitude and a childlike simplicity, I enter into the joy and the peace that comes from the realization of divine guidance. For I know that love guides my thoughts, even as it guards my life in action. I know that the eternal presence is really embracing everything. In this presence, I serenely and confidently rest, placing all my hope and aspiration in its loving care. In this love, I embrace the world and affirm that peace shall come on earth and goodwill exist among people everywhere. I also realize that I belong to the universe in which I live, and it belongs to me. It is the gift of God. I am unified with everyone I will ever meet, and they with me, for we are all manifestations of the one presence. Gratefully acknowledging and gladly receiving this benediction from heaven, I live and love and accept life in its fullness. And so it is.
So it is.
Lost that one word. That's a nice affirming way. So as we think about living in wonder, sometimes it's a choice. You can just choose to live everyday wonder. And that's what I love about my morning walks. You know, when I get out in nature, I stop all of my action lists and shutting on myself, and I allow myself to just get immersed in the wonder of nature. And that's a great way to be grateful. If you're in weather conditions, and of course, here in Florida, South Florida, our winter weather is our ideal weather. So we have sunny skies, sunny sun and blue skies and perfect temperature. It's why we live here. What happened to me? I disappeared. It's why we live here.
It's a new year. We're going to be in and out for a while until the year gets solid. Yeah.
But Bob, do you want to read the piece you wrote?
I gotta go get it.
Oh, we better go get it. You know, what keeps us from wonder? What keeps us from the wonder of being alive and the wonder of our own lives and the wonder of every miracle that we see? Because every life is really a miracle, you know. But we can be kept from it by our own, guess what, our own thinking, and particularly our own worrying. And I was, for some reason, as we started thinking about worrying this morning, even the words to the song came to me about worrying about things that might have been. We not only worry about the future, we worry about the past. And what if it had been another way? And why did it have to be that way? That comes from the song Proud Mary, worrying about the way things might have been, which is such a waste of time, because the way things were is the way they were, and that it's for us to learn from them, enjoy them, or choose not to think about them.
I was just worrying that I couldn't find it.
So,
and then wonder how I'd lost
I
it.
wonder how you
And I have actually lost the sheet that I enlarged so that I could easily read it.
want
So
glasses.
no, I can see this. Yeah. The days and nights will always be filled with light and dark, joy, sadness, and everything in between. You bring magic to life. You bring smiles and laughter that warm the heart. Love because you can laugh until you cry, and cry until all that is left is your smile. Breathe deep, my friend. There is no real joy in shallowness. A butterfly embraces the same breeze as the eagle. A dandelion is rooted in the same ground as the rose. You are the dream that must come true, and all that the heart and soul has ever longed to be.
You think he was a writer?
I don't know where this
And
stuff.
that quote was from Robert
I
Luckin.
don't know where this stuff comes from, but I'm delighted that it keeps coming.
You
Yeah,
have a good inner writer.
yeah, really. Well, and I think that's a very good point. Is that there's an inner us that has a greater wisdom and a greater truth and a greater understanding, but it's the inner us that isn't afraid.
Mhm.
And I think so much of our life is unfortunately run by fear. And when I think of trading in wonder for worry, what worry is a thing that thinks itself to be the solution. Worry is that state that if I just worried the right kind of way, if I could worry myself a
Could
little
solve all my
longer,
problems,
I could solve the problem. And
even in the past.
yeah, and so we get hooked. It reminds me of a spider web. That you get into it, and the harder you work to get out of it, the more entangled you get. What the spider counts on when the fly hits the web is not his saying, "Oh, I got a couple of legs stuck here." He counts on the fly trying really, really
Really
hard,
struggle, yeah.
really struggle, and the spider just sits back and says, "Well, it'll be a little while, but it'll work out. He's mine forever." Worry makes you the person who belongs to the worry, and so if we can, we need to change that. So most of us, unfortunately, have a lot of fear that's unspoken and unrealized. And when we realize that we're operating out of fear, we can simply say, "Stop, stop! I don't need to be afraid. And if I do need to be afraid, I'll be afraid later. I can schedule a time for being fearful." And for some people, I think that's all they can do is to schedule a time to worry, because they have to do it, but they don't have to do it. You don't have to do it right now. And you talk about the morning walks, and the beauty of the morning walks is your ability to get out and connect with something more than you, which is then brings you back to you.
Mhm, mhm. And I have a wonderful quote and idea about how to raise our children and grandchildren. And it's written by William Martin. And I believe I know this author. I believe he lives south of Redding, California, and he's written a lot of books on the Tao and that way of living. The Tao is the Chinese, it means the way. And it's another word for God or the way of life. And he's written a book called The Parents Tao Te Ching. And he says, do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is the way of foolishness. Help them instead to find the wonder and marvel of an ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes and apples and pears. Show them how to cry when pets and people die. Show them the infinite pleasure of the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive for them. The extraordinary will take care of itself. That's by William Martin. the parents' Tao Te Ching. And I think that's so wise, because if you try to get your kids to be extraordinary, it just stresses them.
Well, we spend a lot of our lives trying to filter out the things we don't want. And as we try to do the filtering, we're actually narrowing the scope of our experience. We're narrowing the sound, the vibration, the vibrance, the vitality of life. And so the problem with every filter designed to get rid of fear is that it gets rid of a lot of other things as well. When you say there's nothing to be afraid of, I'm not going to get rid of it. I can live with what is, what's so, and I don't have to be afraid. And you're not trying to remedy it, but you're just trying to live beyond it or on the other side of it or inside out. Then that changes everything. I think very often creatively, when I'm trying to solve a problem, I work really long and hard on trying to solve the problem. And it isn't until I take a break or go do something else that the answer comes to me.
Yeah.
And what that really says is that we need to relieve ourselves of the state of giving attention to what's wrong and allow ourselves to move not necessarily to what's right, but to just the nothingness of it all and to the everything. And when we separate ourselves from that, we invite the possibility of more. We live in a universe that is much wider than our vision. And all we need to be able to do is give ourselves permission to turn our heads and look to the left and to the right and look up and look down and see, oh my God, there's so much more than I've been seeing. And so I think another way of saying that we live in fear is that we live in a small vision of life. We live in a very narrow experience. Even more, for me, more frightening than that is seeing how often I don't actually even live in the present worry. I live in past worry. I worry sometimes about the things that could have happened.
If they'd only done something different, huh?
Yeah.
Like you can do anything about that.
Like, wow, that's nothing like giving greater depth to worry. But it's not really useful. And it can be instructive to say, well, this could have happened or that could have happened, or thank God that didn't happen. But it doesn't have a very long or rich lifespan compared to investing in the now, investing in the present
The
moment.
wonder of what is.
Yeah. Right.
I'm reading, and I've talked about this the last few times, but I'm reading a book written by Byron Katie called A Thousand Names for Joy. And the whole thing is about loving what is, just accepting what is as wonderful, literally full of wonder. And she accepts everything that happens is exactly what should have happened, exactly what should be.
Yeah.
And all of it, she accepts joyously, even when it's painful for her. She says, well, it obviously is what is supposed to happen or is right to happen because it happened and it's all God. She said, and my God is good, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So if it happened, it's good.
When you read it, it sounds like she has some sort of a divine madness. And
Yeah.
it's a divine madness because it's just unrealistic or impractical to say that something that you and I both know is a bad thing is neither bad nor good. It just simply is.
Right.
And,
What if we could do that?
Yeah, wow. And her madness is something that I think most of us want to catch if we can. And it's a marvelous infection. To
be able to accept everything as just perfect, to
Right.
stay out of judgment. This is bad, this is good. I want good things to happen to me, not bad things to happen to me. And just say, well, if it happens, it's good. It's just as it should be.
Yeah.
And to know that it's all God and it's all good. I still think it doesn't hurt to think about what you want, visualize what you want, see yourself manifesting and creating certain things, because what else are we going to do with this mind of ours that's always going? We want to use it to visualize and expect and anticipate what we do want. I'm looking for other affirmations on prosperity.
Well, while you're doing that, one of the things that's required for me in order to be able to draw a picture is a sheet of paper that has nothing on it.
Yeah.
And the problem with that sheet of paper that has nothing on it is that it can also be a terrifying experience of what's expected is that the paper will suddenly be filled up with something beautiful or something perfect or something wonderful. And the truth is, you need a clean slate. You need quite a quantity of nothing to create something. You need a space. And I think most of us are busy worrying about the space that we're living in. And you can't find it.
I cleaned up my papers this morning, but I have some wonderful affirmations for success and
Yeah.
greater prosperity for this year, why not? It's a new year. I would want everybody to do that because prosperity is just an opportunity for us to give more, do more, experience more, and it's all God. So why not?
I would say for all of us today, this is a day and this is a week. I'm going to just give us a week. This is a week for planting. This is a week for planting the seeds of possibility and not expecting them to flower in the next couple of days, but to allow yourself to know every day of the week that you're planting the seeds of the future that you want to live in. And at the same time, next week, when you're done with the planting, you can say, I'm now doing the tending. And the tending is I'm watering, I'm taking care of, I'm creating the space for, I'm getting the vases I need for the flowers I'm going to be having that are going to be able to show themselves in all their beauty. And so instead of worry, what we could say is, I planted the seeds for the tomorrow that I want to enjoy. And I know that just like a ship that's been sent out that'll come back full of with everything I want, everything I planted in my garden will eventually flower. And all I need to know is I have planted a really fine garden. And you can say that to yourself. You could say, when next time you want to go worry, it's like, I was going to worry about our finances. I was going to worry about my health, but I realized I have a health garden. I have a financial garden. I have a relationship garden. I have a prosperity
Mm.
garden in which I have planted so much good. And every time that I want to go worry, what I'm going to go do instead is go water the garden. And I'm going to take the thoughts, the affirmations that you can't find, that we will eventually find 10 minutes after we'll find them. But
Right.
the affirmations are my way of watering the garden, not my way of creating a good feeling and not my way of just trying to be positive, but it's actually affirmations are watering the garden, a possibility that you have planted.
Yeah, I like them because they make me feel the way I would feel as if I already had them. And that's what you
Mhm.
need to do.
Yeah.
That's the law of attraction that attracts those things to you. It doesn't happen by worrying about what could happen or might have happened.
But I think the distinction that I'm making here is if you say an affirmation and you feel good, inside of that there is, yeah, it's nice to feel good, but, and then you can go one step further and this is how I water my garden. This is how I take care of what I've already planted, my intention for the life that I want to have more of. And so it's to take the affirmation to affirm the reality, not just the good feeling. And I think we all like to have the good feeling. We need to be in a feeling state of possibility in order to be able to experience it.
Right.
But we also need to be able to be in a thinking state to say, I've actually planted my good. And, I bring it up every now and then because it's exciting. CBS Sunday Morning showed a piece of my artwork last week. Now, the interesting thing is I planted the seed for that particular piece of artwork several months ago. That is, I sent them the piece of artwork that they showed on Sunday several months ago. I planted the seed.
Mhm.
And so what I could have said is, I don't know, I sent it out, nothing happened. I guess it's not going to happen. But instead, what I did is I said, I will have to water the possibility that my good will keep coming back to me. It will keep flowering, it will keep blossoming, and it does keep doing that.
It does. Sometimes, and my wish for you is that you have friends that help you untangle
Yeah.
some of your worrying and false beliefs. And I want to share a story. I'm sure some of you have heard about this story, but it's nice to be remembering it right now. This is something that actually happened um, a couple of years ago, and there was. I'm going to read it to you anyway, so that I get all the details. This happened in 2005. There was a female humpback whale who had become entangled in a spider web of crab traps and lines. The 50-foot whale was weighted down by hundreds of pounds of traps that caused her to struggle to even stay afloat. She also had hundreds of yards of line rope wrapped around her tail, her torso, and a line tugging at her mouth. So she was struggling to stay alive. A fisherman spotted her just east of the Farallone Islands outside the Golden Gate Bridge and radioed an environmental group for help. Within a few hours, the rescue team arrived and determined that she was so bad off, the only way to save her was to dive in and untangle her. a very dangerous proposition. One slap of the tail could kill a rescuer. So they worked for hours and with curved knives eventually freed her. When she was free, the diver said she swam in what seemed like joyous circles. And she then came back to each one of the divers, one at a time, and nudged them, pushed them gently around. She was thanking them. Some said it was the most incredibly beautiful experience of their lives. The guy who cut the rope out of her mouth said her eyes followed him the whole time and that he would never be the same. So may you and all those you love be so blessed and fortunate in the new year to be surrounded by people who will help you get untangled from the things that are binding you. And may you always know the joy of giving and receiving gratitude.
So if you're the diver, you know you have the oxygen that you need. You know you have the tools you need to help free other people. And if you can't free yourself, sometimes you can free other people, and that will lead you back to yourself. I think one of the things that we
We all are connected.
yeah, we mistakenly often operate out of, when I feel better, I'll be able to help other people. Or I hear this often, once I figure things out, I'll have a relationship, rather than you're having a relationship right now with you. And you can have a relationship with other people because that's how you learn how to do a relationship. And so we learn how to heal ourselves by sometimes helping heal other people. And we can do both. And as you heal, as you move in the direction of healing other people, you heal you, and that just strengthens you and empowers you to do still more of that.
So those are our New Year's wishes for you. And it's time now for us to wrap up. Let's do a closing prayer and go to our music. I have some wonderful music for you this morning.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy it.
And so let's go within and give thanks for this new year. Father, Mother, God, we know that this new year brings a rich experience of all kinds of experiences. And we know many of them are easy for us to judge and think about and act as if they shouldn't be happening. And we know right here, right now, that everything that is happening should be happening and is a blessing, sometimes a blessing in disguise.
So today we plant the infinite in the infinite garden of, we plant seeds of love and intention, of kindness and of caring. We plant the seeds of understanding and compassion. We plant the seeds of knowledge and wisdom. And we know that each day, whether we see the seeds coming through the earth or not, that they are well planted, that they are growing, and that all we need to do is allow ourselves to say yes to the growth, to the possibility, to the wonderful outpouring of this expression of good, of the garden blossoming. So we make room today, this day and every day, for the garden to blossom and to bloom and to bring to us all that we have planted. For this we say thank you.
And together we say,
and so it is.
So it is. And so now we are going to stop this recording. No, we're going to go do a screen share and share with you an invitation for you to support this healing teaching ministry whose name is the Center for Spiritual Living of the Palm Beaches. And this is our website, which is cslpalmbeaches.org, right here in little tiny print. And when you go there, you can click on ways to donate, and you will find 3 ways to donate. I know many of you know these, and we appreciate your ongoing support.
We do, and we need that in order for us to be able to continue to do this.
And we want to invite anybody who might watch this on YouTube or Facebook to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And so now let us stop the share, and then we shall stop the recording.
Yeah, please.